clashes. So what clashes are basically themes or questions or points of contention that summarizes basically what the debate has been about. So whip speeches are not only a summary of all your arguments, but a comprehensive summary of the debate. So you've had arguments, opposing team had some arguments, and those arguments don't fit together. What whip speakers are for is whip speeches are supposed to ask questions that identify what those key points of disagreements are and how I as a judge should then give the win on those issues to your team. So this is more of an analytical speech and not just a summary speech of your team's arguments. Whip speeches are supposed to be able to identify where the disagreements are between the opposing team's arguments and your own arguments, and then ask meaningful questions so that you can give explanations why the judge should give your team the win on those issues. So for example, if I was debating about abortion, and my team made the argument that abortion is bad because it kills the baby within the womb, so we are disrespecting the baby's right to life. The opposing team says the woman's right to her body is more important than the fetus's right to life in her own body, because the woman should have control over her body, but my team is saying that the baby should have its rights to its life protected. So now we have a problem. So I'm saying the baby's rights are more important. They're saying the woman's right to her own body is more important. So the question is, how should we decide this contention, right? So the whip speeches should be able to identify and ask questions like, whose rights should we privilege more, or whose rights should we respect more? That of the fetus or that of the woman? And then provide reasons or explanation for the judge to understand who he should give the win to on that issue. Opposition whip is the same, so identify key points of contention and explaining why your team takes the point. Reply speeches are generally what we call biased adjudication speeches. So during the reply speeches, you are not expected to give any more development to your arguments. You're not expected to rebut, or you're not expected to take down any more arguments. The approach to the reply speech should be, the debate is over, we've made so many arguments, we've made so many rebuttals, we've made so many counter-arguments. The role of the reply speech is to accept the debate as it happened and explain to the judge why you won the debate. So it's tricky to understand, but basically it's stepping out from the debate and evaluating what are the key burdens that both teams have in this debate. What were they intended to prove? And did they make those arguments to prove, to successfully prove their burden of proofs, right? And explain to the judge why they won in that case. So if there are three arguments, there are three arguments on both sides. So what the opposition reply or government reply might want to do is to say, in this debate, the most important two issues are these things. So the team that is able to successfully prove to you these 2 points will win the debate. What have we said in relation to these 2 points? What have they said in relation to these 2 burdens? So, so the reply speeches are supposed to be taking a step back, looking at the debate as a whole, and being able to say which team was able to fulfill their burden in the debate more. Where did the opposing team fail in terms of proving their burden of proof, and why is your team winning the debate? All right, so points of information. Points of information are the chances for the opposing team to ask questions of the speaker who is speaking. There's some rules to points of information. The first one is the POIs cannot last for more than 15 seconds. So POIs are really supposed to be quick bursts of questions or points of clarification. They're not intended to be mini speeches you give while the speaker is giving his speech. So if you exceed 15 seconds, the judge can tell you to sit down, and you have to sit down, right? Otherwise you'll be docked points. It's also the decision of the speaker who is speaking to decide if they want to accept your POI or not. So if you want to give a point of information and the speaker keeps denying you, you can just keep standing up, and that's okay. But it's entirely the speaker's decision, because he is speaking and it's his time. He's choosing to give away if he accepts your question. So you can only ask questions or make points of clarification if the speaker allows you to do that. Okay. POIs are not technically required in debates, but generally we encourage you to take points of information, at least one of them, because that's a good chance for you to engage with the opposing team's ideas or contentions, even before the opposing team gives their speeches. So generally it's a good tool for engagement, so we encourage most debaters to take at least one point of information.